It's an energy kart on the outside of the front row of the grid. It is the driver from Novosibirsk in Siberia, in the north of Russia on grid 2. We think it's cold here in Adria. Indeed it is. He's from Siberia. Imagine the temperature and the depth of the snow in the north of Russia. Jan Sharovsky, 551, the pole out of grid number 3 alongside yet another Russian, German Fotev. There he is, 503, so it will be the energy karts going down the outside line off the start of this 10-lap final. Yan Puchui from China, the Tony Kart driver, 506, there he is. Team Gamoto. Maciej Gladic, the pole, 531. On the outside of the third row of the grid. He's had a great run, but he's running the pre-final this morning, albeit on a drying circuit. Didn't quite nail the setup. This is the boy from Abu Dhabi in the Emirates, Rashid Al-Daheri, who starts out at grid number 7. And of course, he dominated, winning the WSK Supermaster Series and the WSK Euro Series in 2019. He starts out at grid number 7 alongside Alexander Bondarev. That was him in the 505 Tony Kart, the Ukrainian. And René Lammers from Zandvoort, the city that returns to the Formula One World Championship calendar this year. René Lammers, 515 for the all-new look baby race team out of grid number 9. Guillaume Boutsard, the Frenchman, in the Paralin, has been right there all weekend. He's out of 10, and then it's Yaroslav Trukin from Vladivostok, the Prim Ring Kart circuit, which is located just 100 kilometers from the North Korean border, way on the other side of the nation we once knew as the Soviet Union. Speaking of the Russians, let's take a look at the grid for you in its entirety, with Kavalkin on pole position. Dmitry Matveev alongside, then it's Sharovsky and Fotev. Look at the Russian flags. We know they dominated the final cup here 2 months ago. Chui, Gladic, Al-Daheri, Bondarev, René Lammers, Guillaume Boutsard. Alessandro Minetto is the top Italian, starting alongside Yaroslav Trukin. Skulinov, Enya Frey, Mark Dubnitsky for Dan Holland Racing. And it's Kirill Ditsiev, Kieran Teese, Kinberta Nakamura, the Japanese, Serbian, Englishman, Griffin Peebles on this Australia Day has made the final and starts out of 19 alongside the Slovenian Markus Delic. Stepan Antonov, Chi, then it's Vladimir Ivanikov, last year's mini Russian champion alongside Giulio Olivieri. Al Baksoy from Turkey, Yindrik Peschel, Marcus Sata, and Sasha Van Padbosch. Adam Hidej, Heitor Farias from Brazil has made the final on his debut in WSK competition, as has Artemi Troitsky, Filippo Sala, Nick Skulac, another Slovenian, and Valerio Proietti on the final row of the grid. Last year's champion, Andrea Filafero, won it in a Tony Kart. Andrea Antonelli won it in 2018. Alfio Spinner, who just took out the junior final. He won this race in 2017 for Team Gamoto with a CRG. Michael Paparo winning Mini in 2016. Dennis the Menace Hauger, who also took out the Italian F4 Championship, powered by Arbath, presented to you by WSK Promotion last year. Dennis won this race when he was a whole lot shorter than he is these days in 2015. And Abdul Muizzaddin Ghaffar from Malaysia, winning the 2014 edition of the WSK Champions Cup. Dmitry Matveev, 501 on grid 2 with his countryman from Moscow on pole position. As ever, Ian Silvestrin, your commentator for this, the opening race of the year, the WSK Champions Cup, the 60 mini final. 10 laps. We race. Matveev has missed the start as Jan Sharovsky follows the pole sitter, Anatoly Kavalkin, into second place. Anatoly is the race leader. Great start by Yampul Chui, so it's first, third and fifth on the grid that run 1, 2 and 3 after the opening few corners. Matviv has fallen way back to fifth position, ahead of his countryman, ahead of the other energy cart, German Fotev. And a relatively clean start for the 34 60 Mini drivers here on a drying but cold and greasy track under the fog south of Venice in the north of Italy on the opening lap of the race. Yampul Chui down the inside goes the Chinese driver for Team Komoto into second place. Over the ripple strip he goes, he splits the Paralin cars that now run 1, 3 and 4. Also look for German Skulinov in the Formula K kart. Rene Lammers into 9th, ahead of Bondarev. Gladic is back to 11th after fairly dominating proceedings yesterday in the rain. Yampui drives off the circuit. Rashid Al-Daheri 5-3-0. Don't discount the Emirati. Looking for another WSK title. A week after he took out his 5th Dubai O-plate over at the Dubai Kartdrome a week ago, where the temperature was about 30 degrees warmer than it is here today in the north of Italy, as Matviv forces his way up into third place. That is German Skulinev right behind in the all-new look Formula K kart for 2020. Rashid has been forced back. Kin Nakamura Berto, I can tell you, the English, Serbian, Japanese driver is on the charge. Already up into 13th place behind Guillaume Boutsar, who's going in the other direction. Nakamura now up behind Lammers as the front two start to pull away. Kavalkin, Yampul Chui, then it's Matviv and Skulinov. And Foltev, Rashid's in 6th place. So once again, the Russians are dominating as German Skulinov goes by the Siberian Matviv. He's now on the podium in the Formula K. It's a Paralin from a Tony kart. The Energy, he's pushed back to 4th place. Energy, who are looking good indeed, they still are well in with a shot. Dmitry Matviv, though, he's off the podium at the moment. Good drive, good move a few moments ago by German Skulinov. The Formula K comes onto the straight. Yampul runs off the circuit. The Chinese driver almost throws it all away right there and then. WRC rally style coming onto the straight. The Vega tyres will be filthy. That will cost him. And he's now being hounded by Yampul Chui. The Russians, they are dominating again. Going down the inside, but Yampui closes the door. He runs off the circuit. Matviv in P4 in the Energy. Skulinov P3 in the Formula K. Make that second. They both team up once again. Deja vu. Russia 1, Russia 2, Russia 3 as well. Yampul Chui, after that slight error, is back to 4th. It was costly though. Meanwhile, Anatoly Kavalkin is walking away as we approach half race distance. The WSK Champions Cup here at Adria Karting Raceway. Incredibly, in 60cc Mini, he has got a lead of more than 2.5 seconds. The Russians 1, 2 and 3. Maciej Gladic the pole behind Yampul Chui, who's really in trouble now. Goes down the inside, just tries to desperately take the place back. That's the Emirati, Rashid Al-Daheri, trying to fight his way into contention. Jan Sharovsky just a little bit further back, and that's Kin Nakamura going with him. Al-Daheri, we're so used to seeing 5.01 on his kart last year, is now 5.30. Trading positions with Maciej Gladic. So Yampul Chui for Team Komoto. For Xi'an in the center of China. Fights his way back. He's in 4th. The order is Kavalkin, Skulinov, Matviv, Yampul Chui. No, make that Gladic. Make that Al-Daheri as well. Yampui falls back to 6th place. Jan Sharovsky right there as well. Incredibly, the Russians 1, 2, 3. We cannot emphasize that enough. How impressive that is. There are 19 Russian drivers among the 170 here this weekend as Ki Nakamura runs up the back of Jan Puchui. The two Asian drivers almost take each other out. Don't be surprised if that's dislodged his nose cone as Jan Puchui dives down the inside and takes the place back from the Emirati. Jan Shirosky in that fight as well. Jan Puchui will be hung out to dry as they come onto the straight. He runs off the circuit almost for a second time, but that time it wasn't of his own doing. Kavalkin. The gap is down to a second to Skulinov and Matviv in P3. Kavalkin in the Paralin has a big look behind to Skulinov in the all-new look Formula K. Team manager Cash Van Bell watching on from pit lane, one place away from taking the podium. From taking the top step on the podium, I should say. He's currently in second. Kavalkin, he's being caught. Skulinov, another purple sector. The Formula K is hooked up here this afternoon. 3 laps to go. The gap was more than 2.5 seconds. It's down to 1.1. I'd suggest it'll be less than that. We'll check it for you now. It's down to 4/10. You can see for yourself as Rashid closes in on the back of the Siberian. Dmitry Matveev, the boy from Abu Dhabi in the United Arab Emirates who lives in Beijing, China. He speaks 5 languages fluently. He's the reigning WSK Supermaster Series champion. And he is the best hope for the rest of the world to split the dominance of the Russians. He's on the back of the Siberian in the energy cart. German Skulinov, he's on the back of Kavalkin in the Paralin. Cash Van Bell will have no fingernails left. His boy is now right on the tail of Kavalkin. There's Rashid going through. He's still a step off the podium. There are 2 laps, 2.6 kilometers to race this afternoon. 1:02, perhaps 1:03 k's an hour. Flat out down through turn 1. Rashid will put it up inside. Oh no, Matviv closes the door. They went wheel to wheel throughout the entire 2019 season. Matviv under pressure, and speaking of pressure, Kavalkin straight lines the chicane. The Formula K leads here this afternoon. German Skulinov takes the lead with 1.5 laps remaining. The WSK Champions Cup, what a sensational start to the all-new season. Kavalkin, can he fight back? He did start on pole position, he's in second. Fastest lap of the race for the driver who now leads, German Skulinov, 5:60. This is the last lap of the race as Skulinov runs off the circuit. Rashid still cannot get by Matviv for the moment. Oh, he was so close to the victory, he won't do it now. Skulinov on a greasy track threw his chance of victory away this afternoon. Matviv in third, goes defensive, but Rashid goes through and takes the place. Matviv off the circuit, looks behind. It's a long way back to the pole, Shirosky and Gladic. Kavalkin. He did it the hard way. You have to feel for Skulinov. A lap away from victory. The WSK Champions Cup will go to Russia. The victor from pole position, Anatoly Kavalkin, the Muscovite, wins it. German Skulinov second. You have to feel for the Formula K driver, and Rashid from Abu Dhabi splits the Russians to take third place here this afternoon. Matviv 4 from Shirosky and Gladic. Oh, what a race! How good will the rest of 2020 be, if that is any indication? Let's take a look at the highlights here. Matviv from grid 2 tried the outside line, but was forced back to 5th. Forced off the road at the start. Anatoly Kavalkin setting about building a big lead. It was out to 2.5 seconds. German Skulinov, the fastest driver on the track. Jan Puchui, meanwhile, he went off the track, not once, not twice, but 3 times. Skulinov past Jan Pui, past Dimitri. The Energy Kart fighting back. He ultimately would finish in 4th place. But the gap from Skulinov was enormous. Ki Nakamura running up the back of Jan Puchui, who really drove well all afternoon, the Chinese driver. Didn't get the result he wanted, though. Finishing down in 13th place, German Skulinov reeled in his countrymen to take the lead with just over a lap to go with this move down into the hairpin. Unfortunately, he threw it away a lap from the checkered flag. Matveev passed by Rashid, another podium for the Emirati in the Paralin. But Anatoly Kavalkin, the Russian, takes the victory from German Skulinov with Rashid Al-Dahedi from the Emirates in 3rd place. Well, they dominated the WSK Final Cup right here 2 months ago, and that dominance continues. 1, 2, 4, 8 for the Russians. Kavalkin, he is the Champions Cup champion for 2020. Skulinov 2nd and Rashid on the podium in 3rd. Matveev, Shirotsky and Gladic, the 2 Poles. Guillaume Putzar, good drive from him to finish in 7th, head of Fotiv. Rene Lamas in the top 10. Remember, we had 75 entries, and the Ukrainian Alexander Bondarev home in 10th place. Stay with us on WSK.it, the podium presentation in just a moment. The podium for 60cc Mini, the WSK Champions Cup, and what a fantastic race it was to start the 2020 season. In 3rd place, the first non-Russian from Abu Dhabi in the United Arab Emirates, Rashid Al-Dahedi. Second place for Team Formula K, he's a Russian. His name is German Skulinov. The WSK Champions Cup champion for 60 Mini comes from Moscow in Russia. His name is Anatoly Kavalkin. Third place to Rashid Al-Dahedi of the United Arab Emirates. Second, German Skulinov from Russia for Formula K. The Team Paralin driver from Moscow in Russia, the Champions Cup winner for 2020, Anatoly Kavalkin. The national anthem of Russia. Rashid Al-Dahedi in 3rd place, German Skulinov in 2nd, and Anatoly Kavalkin. The Russians dominate once again here at Adria. Stay with us on WSK.it, the OK final in just a moment.